Rumours of a Rammus AD carry strat coming down right here. So, it could be an interesting game. I hope not, because I had to commentate a couple of peculiar games last week, which was a real struggle to get excited about, if I'm honest.
Rammus AD strat. That is a bit strange.
Yeah, maybe it's similar to that support Hecarim that Civ HD does, where he has a load of armor and then a door and shield and sits there on top of minions, denying them CS because of his huge character model, and takes actually very little poke due to the door and shield that he starts with.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you're aware of that, but if you're not, please Google it or YouTube it or whatever. It's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible.
Since the nerfs, Hecarim has not been the OP gank pony in the jungle that he used to be, and been looking for an excuse to play him otherwise.
Play that brilliant skin that's just come out. I shamefully
I already have the Halloween skin, and I'm just in love with that one because
it is amazing. I was gutted when I started playing Hecarim, and I missed the boat in getting that skin because it's absolutely brilliant. Okay, so we're into game right now. Finally, after all the battle cries from both teams, talking about their brilliant strats, including AD carry Rammus. First two bans, Castin and Ari, straight away. So those mid lane roamers being eliminated by both teams. Zed also, followed by the Thresh that we saw really strong in last game. These bans rapidly coming out, so they clearly know what they don't want to play against. Fizz also being eliminated by Team Imperial College. I don't know the full title, but and then
just call him
Imp. There we go. And then on the opposite side, Cardiff. Actually, a bit unsure about this last ban. So they've banned out Castin and Thresh, obviously both really strong champions.
And the Blitzcrank is the last ban, which, I mean, that makes sense. Blitzcrank is one of those champions that if you don't know how to deal with him, you just have to ban him because he's game-changing.
Yeah, definitely, especially if you're one of those bot lanes that are liable to be hooked into a bush or at any moment. Jarvan being picked first for Imperial, they were banned out of getting him every time last game, so as soon as he's been available, they've picked him straight up. A Fiddlesticks being hovered over right here, and actually has been played in LCS a few times by Nintendo, and
well, we've seen Fiddlesticks both in the jungle and as a support champion.
Yeah.
And he's a bit of an odd choice in both places.
Yeah, that fair is OP in my opinion, 3-second fair, but I in fact used to play an awful lot of Fiddlesticks. He managed to carry myself.
I actually ran into a Fiddlesticks in solo queue earlier today. He was annoying.
Yeah, so the Zac in fact being picked up right here, coupled with the Graves. So Zac was seen before, a great engaging. Graves deals an awful lot of damage right now with just his huge burst. Yeah. Sona and Orianna being picked up from the other team, so again a bit of an AoE comp, but Orianna's damage is just ridiculous.
Yeah, well, anytime you pick an Orianna and someone with a hard engage like Jarvan, I mean, you've instantly locked yourself into sort of the Wombo combo comp, I believe it's called.
Yeah, and if they left that open and had that on Cardiff's team, maybe that was a targeted pick to take it away from Cardiff's team. Orianna and Zac is ridiculous. He gets in there with his elastic slingshot, followed by Orianna command shockwave, is it right? And their whole team can just be locked down for a good 3 seconds with the amount of CC coming out from both. So that potentially was a pick that was taken away from the Cardiff team. Leona being hovered over here, they're not showing their other pick. I'd expect to see a mid lane being picked here, as Imperial have picked the Orianna already. Yeah, and the Katarina not been locked in yet, but potentially Leona being locked in, so that really aggressive bottom lane of Graves and Leona versus the low HP Sona, they can almost blow her up immediately. Katarina was locked in there, which is an interesting pick versus the Orianna, as her ult counters the Katarina straight away, really. Ooh, Corky. You said you like Corky, didn't you?
I do love Corky. He was I played so much of him back in Season 2. And I think I love playing him. I don't think he's strong right now, but I want to see how he can be played well. And it looks like they were just patronizing me there.
Yeah, it's potentially the Vayne. And while that Vayne is up, you've got to expect it to come out, because her hyper carry status is just, you can't argue against it. Graves actually doesn't do bad against the Vayne. However, Vayne, all she has to do is farm and get into late, and she's absolutely destructive. Kills or no kills on top of her.
It's the definition of a hyper carry.
Yeah. So Rumble also being locked in for the top lane right there. I don't know who's going to play against yet, but Imperial actually sticking with the double AP top and mid, and I think that's potentially, as you said, down to Captain Plank's champion pool, or alternative the mid lane champion pool. He could have picked up Zed, but
Captain Plank is their support player.
Oh, sorry. Is it Mon Money? Who's their top
One
player?
thing to note is that they did just pick a Katarina into a Vayne, Orianna, Jarvan, Sona comp.
Yeah, and I don't know quite why. Because Orianna, with her shield and her shockwave, Katarina's got to get in really close regardless. So if she shields on top of herself, she can shockwave straight away.
Yeah, particularly during the team fight stage, where they just have a lot of ways to relocate Katarina or stop her ult.
Aatrox being picked here. What do you think of Aatrox? Is he strong?
Aatrox is incredibly OP in the laning phase, particularly if you don't have Ignite or some other sort of dot burn like that. And then kind of useless after that.
Yeah.
So
he's kind of like Tryndamere, isn't he, in the way of...
Well, Tryndamere, I mean, at least he's got 5 seconds of critting. Aatrox, he's just, he's been popular in the Europe LCS. And so maybe these guys know something I don't. I'm not willing to rule that out, but I don't think he is a strong pick past the laning phase. I've seen him run to some success in mid, as a mid laner who just starts roaming and invading the jungle, where that sustain comes into play, and just bullying someone out of lane is incredibly useful. But I don't know, I just don't think he's that strong past the laning phase.
I mean, Cardiff potentially has a really good split push team. However, if they can draw one of the members of Imperial into the top lane as Aatrox split pushes, they actually have a really good team fight, because, as you said, a wombo combo from the Sona, Orianna, and Rumble. If you remove one of those, then you're going to actually weaken the team by an awful lot. On the other hand, if the Aatrox doesn't get fed and he's forced to team fight, then with the amount of CC from Imperial, they can lock him down and basically render him useless, as you said.
Well, I mean, looking at the teams, both of them have an awful lot of in-your-face AoE damage. They both want to be up close. You've got a Vayne AD carry, and so it's a Vayne AD carry versus Graves, both of whom are shorter in the range department than some other choices. So this is we're definitely not going to see a lot of poking coming on out of this. I mean, the only poke we're going to see is the Orianna ball.
Yeah, definitely. And the AD carry scene at the minute is fairly stale in my opinion. You know, that Vayne being really strong. I was quite intrigued to see Lucian coming out, but he's actually disappointed. How about we touch on Lucian? What do you think of Lucian? The first African American in the League of
I
Legends
think
lineup.
League needs more black guys.
I do.
Riot has been doing a fantastic job with the thematics of champions lately. However, if you think back into last year, sort of late summer is the part of the year when you get to champions that mechanically may have problems.
Yeah.
Because these are the champions that have been pushed back because they needed more work, they weren't quite right. And Lucian himself, he came out, a month after he was first spoiled?
Yeah.
And he was leaked by accident even earlier than that. So this is a champion that has had a slightly longer than average development cycle, and I'm not sure they've gotten him right yet. But I also, he's new, and I think he requires a different play style than a lot of people are useful. Particularly in that a lot of people seem to be trying to use his ultimate as a damage tool. And I think it should probably, ideally, because you can use it while moving, use it as a disengage.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. You know, every time I think how lacking his ultimate is, but when it's put up as a retreat as you're running away in order to get some damage off, it makes a lot more sense why it's so lacking in damage.
Yeah, well, it's because you can move, and the thing is I'm not sure. I haven't played Lucian yet, but from what I've seen, ulting doesn't deal that much more damage than just standing there and auto-attacking would.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
There's the question of why are you ulting when you could just be auto-attacking? And when you're running away, you typically don't want to be auto-attacking. Of course you want to be stutter-stepping and getting a bit of damage off, but why do that when you can just ult deal, basically full ult damage while you're running away? And really discourage people from following you.
And I can't quite tell whether he's going to need buffs before becoming totally viable, or whether he's viable right now, but no one's really found how to play him quite yet.
I think that the changes that are going to affect Lucian most are going to be changes regarding his itemization.
Yeah.
Are you in game?
I am in game.
I seem to not be in game.
Okay, so we're now 20 seconds in game, so I'll wait for you to catch up. I'll just talk and talk about the invade right now. Oh, a lot of sound. Sorry about that. That's probably echoing onto the street. And purple team looking to ward up their red side, while blue team have actually gone over to purple team's blue side bush. So we may see an early fight right away. They're running into this banana bush and getting onto the owner. She's forced to flash. Graves continues to run. And they actually should have probably been a bit more patient there. Rumble dealing a bit of damage. But they haven't got enough out of the purple team to safely take this blue buff, in my opinion. They should just stick a ward down and walk away. We'll see what comes of this right now.
Savage.
So, blue team only have the one ward in this bush opposite. Rumble's just taking the B as he wants to get back to that top lane, make sure it's not being put any further behind to this Aatrox, as Aatrox snowballs so well, especially if he gets that level advantage. Purple team are dropping a ward over to get some vision onto the blue. However, Zac, Katarina and Aatrox are going to try and take this blue side's blue also. Jarvan and that just going to comfortably take away the purples.
Sorry about that, I was just fixing some volume in the chat.
no problem at all. So Aatrox managed to get up into top lane in time to not miss any experience, so they'll just be dueling it off right there. Jarvan falling back, taking this red. Zach actually took away the blue team's blue and is going to move on to his red, which is going to put him into actual decent position of getting that level 3 and being topside, looking for the gank on Rumble, who has started Doran's shield, which straight away is a massive heads up to the jungler that he's got no wards.
Indeed it is. However, I think against Aatrox it was the right call, just because Aatrox, his damage and sustain is so strong. He needs something to come back from that.
Yeah, so ping's going down onto mid. Zach looking to land an elastic slingshot and deal some damage onto this Orianna. However, with a minion wave that big, you've also always got to worry about how much minion damage you're going to take if you engage. Engages onto the Aatrox at top lane, Jarvan catching him out, and his passive goes down. Looks like it's going to fall down to Surf, but Rumble picks it up right there. So straight away, they've closed out that Aatrox, and that's a real problem. You need him to stay ahead in lane.
Indeed, I mean they have recognized that they do need to shut down that Aatrox, and they came in with the early gank, trapped him, and the Bloodwell passive just was not enough to save him there.
Yep, he didn't actually manage the stack I can't remember what is it Fury or Rage or whatever it is, but in order to gain more health back when he comes out of that Bloodwell.
A lot of damage coming down bot lane. Leona Zenith's blades onto the Sona, forces her to blow the flash. And they get away, but they are very low down there in under tower.
Yeah, and if this is Zach decides to come across, you know that tower diving ability could actually pick the purple team up a couple of kills. However, Zach's just going to farm out this jungle, which is a bit of an issue in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the current jungle meta really is just hard and fast ganking, having just as much presence in lanes as possible and spending as little time sort of AFK farming the jungle. I mean, Riot, they said they tried to make carry jungle as an option, but they did not succeed. Elastic Slingshot coming down onto the Orianna. A lot of damage coming down off of Katarina as well, however it's not enough to take her down.
Yeah, and she's just going to chug her final health bar right there. Starting a Doran, so she hasn't got the sustain, but she's doing an alright job of farming against this Katarina, who started Boot 3-pot herself. Both of the mid lanes actually are really strong when they hit that level 6, but neither really has a full kill potential, firstly as a mid laner, unless they make an error or a step out of position. You can't really force a full-on engage between these two mid players. Jarvan just looking for that gank at bottom lane, however they had pushed a little too far. But the sustain from Sona and Sona's heal and health pots on the Sona actually means that Vayne is looking to be able to get ahead of this Graves right now. A lot of minions coming into this turret, so he's going to take a bit of a CS lead. However, she's got the advantage in poke right now. Engage coming down on mid lane onto the Orianna. Ignite is blown from the Katarina. However, I don't think it's going to pick her up. Yeah, the Katarina just didn't go ham enough right there, and actually lost out on the kill.
Yeah,
she's just clocked 6 herself. Sorry.
She did not have the damage there. The lack of the ultimates was really just not enough damage for them to get the kills secured.
Yeah, and you saw how close the Katarina was to level 6. Just as Orianna walked away, she just hit that level 6. Maybe that Zach needed a bit of patience, maybe a bit better communication between the two teams. Zach trying to get an engage, using that pink ward that Leona started with. She's not actually started a rejuvenation beads as we saw last game on the Leona, but that's a real strength. Go.
Yeah, I've seen both starts work effectively. The extra pink wards, I mean, particularly if your jungler is planning on coming bot, it's very strong.
And Zach's just trying to get another gank off onto this Orianna. Jarvan coming in possibly to look for the gank, but he's actually Hume right now, so isn't able to land this EQ combo. The Orianna shield is really strong versus this Zach and Katarina. You see nerfing a lot of the damage coming in onto her.
The Zach does seem to have brought his tent and is camping mid quite effectively.
Yep. Back pings coming down from the blue team onto the Rumble, and Zach was actually in a really good position there. Rumble only made it to the second bush and was out of position on half HP, so I'm surprised that Zach didn't go in for a gank there. I think he was just too sidetracked by the red buff.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well that they didn't go in there. I think that would have been almost a free kill.
Yeah, Jarvan's...
as Rumble's flash shouldn't be up yet.
No, definitely not after the last engage onto the Aatrox. Katarina dealing good poke right here. However, both mid laners are looking pretty low. Jarvan's hovering to try and find the gank. Zach comes in, misses the elastic slingshot, but the damage from the Aatrox could be big enough. Rumble managing to drop Aatrox down to Bloodwell. It is Bloodwell, thank you. And then Jarvan coming in and trying to close down this Zach. A great Jarvan ultimate there, stops him from going through that wall. Aatrox, however, is going to try and get enough damage onto Jarvan to stop him killing the Zach. Zach actually almost drop into the red buff, and a final spear through the eye secures Jarvan the kill, however, no assist for the Rumble. A further engage
it looks like
onto it.
Jarvan's going to pick up the double buff top. Meanwhile, the bot, there was a lot of trading going on. Really taking their health, and Sona's mana is pretty low as well. So they are going to have a hard time sustaining versus this. And if Leona manages to get a strong hook, a strong Zenith Blade onto him, that could be a really strong engage right there.
Yeah, and it's been a massive back and forth between the Sona and the Leona right here. Sona doing a really good job of keeping Vayne sustained and able to farm, meaning that she's actually only about 7 CS behind the Graves, which is pretty good for a pre-level 6 Sona, pre-level 6 Vayne versus the Graves. Again, you just see Sona and Leona dueling it out, trying to stopping each other from backing.
Oh, excuse me there. Yeah, I mean, so far the CS is fairly even. Rumble's got a lead of about 11. Jarvan's got a bit of a lead, as well as 2 kills and an assist over the Cardiff's jungler, Zach.
Yeah, and you know, the 3-kill deficit is usually quite a big deal. However, when it's on a jungler, I'm not usually quite as scared of it, because there's not as much of a potential for the lane to snowball. Jarvan, however, I am scared when he gets fed, because his damage just rockets so quickly. Engage coming down onto this Orianna at mid. Let's bounce. However, the Orianna tries to turn and burn the Katarina and manages to do so. So great mechanical play from that Orianna. And the Zac just didn't have enough damage to clean her up there. So good harass coming down from the Vayne. She's taken a beat and picked up a Bilgewater Cutlass. The Sona's trying to get some wards out here. However, Purple Team has done quite a few pink wards. The Engage coming down from the Sona, but actually commits too far, and the lack of health means that she blows up to the Graves ultimate. Vayne also falling as the Leona manages to save a Solar Flare and lock her up to save the Graves.
Up top, we've got an Equalizer coming out of Rumble. Really a strange placement there for it. He was just trying to take the minions and take the tower, which I guess makes sense. And he does take that tower and force Aatrox back. It looks like that early gank on him is really hurting Aatrox. That early lead helps just to let Rumble the snowball.
The dance of blades.
I mean, that's the problem with Aatrox. As you said, he can become useless, and his lane is so strong, but to Rumble, if you fall behind, Rumble's damage scales really well. So you have to watch out. If he gets that haunting guys early, you can't build that magic res to stop him, and that's exactly what it's done. It's done a really good job of snowballing that first kill. At bottom lane, that was a really big mistake right there from the Sona and Vayne. They just underestimated, the Leona Graves damage, which meant Sona was blown up immediately. Blue team are trying to take the dragon here, but the purple team are collapsing. Katarina and Zac coming round from the side. Zac landing the knock-up and lets bounce as the dragon's on very little health. He's going to try and take this dragon. Sona ulti catches the Katarina and the Zac as Rumble picks up the dragon. So Blue team actually managing to come out ahead on that. Even though they are caught in a bit of a precarious situation, the Rumble just coming in to back them up.
Yeah, that could have gone really badly for them really easily, but they were able to hold it together and keep Cardiff off of them.
Yeah, and I think that was just a bit of a miscommunication again by the purple team, as they didn't really combo up that Katarina ulti and the Zac ulti together. They just kind of wanted to stop that dragon, and in doing so wasted a lot of their cooldowns for the actual team fight engage.
I mean,
so the Zac's just gonna pick up the red buff up here. Purple team are looking fairly behind with a 3k deficit right now. Graves just farming up really well at the minute, taking a 22 CS lead over the Vayne. However, as soon as that Vayne takes that Blades of the Ruined King, which she won't be too far off right now, the Vayne could easily change.
And as you said, I mean, a lot of that deficit is on Jarvan, who, yes, he is scary, but he hasn't been bought a lot, and they've not been getting this Vayne fed, which is really what they need to be doing, because that Graves has got a really commanding lead on her so far, and they're really starting to dominate in this bot lane. The engage just coming down there, lots of damage coming off on the Vayne and the Sona, a little bit of damage coming out on Leona, almost nothing on Graves. And in general, that seems to be the way these trades down bot lane are going. It's just that Vayne can't get onto the Graves to get any serious damage out, and they're just having to rely on Sona to heal her back up and sustain, and try to farm to stay in the race. But Graves is got her beat on farm by, it was 30 CS a minute ago, but she's closed that down to about 20 now.
And this Leon is just going to keep on trying to engage onto this Vayne, knowing that both, if she gets onto either of the targets, they're going to melt with a full combo. Engage going down again, Sona landing a good ultimate onto the Graves. However, the Vayne just not got enough sustain in order to get through this damage and falls to Leona. She is forced to flash for the kill though.
Indeed, and meanwhile, blue team takes the mid turret, and that seems to be the general theme of this game so far, is that Imperial's jungler is spending a lot of effort and time mid and top trying to shut down that Katarina, trying to shut down that Aatrox. Meanwhile, Graves has got 2 kills and an assist, as well as a 20 CS lead over Vayne.
Yeah, and Graves is a scary AD carry. He deals a lot of damage. However, the build that he's going, the Bloodthirster and possibly Static Shift build, means that he's actually relies on being a caster AD carry as opposed to Vayne being an auto attack damage AD carry, which tend to fall off a lot more later in the game. So we'll see how he does with that build.
Well, and indeed, and that also depends on how tanky the rest of the team goes and how the team fights goes, and whether or not he can put damage down onto the targets he needs to get them on. Which, I mean, is looking like it's going to be the Rumble is going to be the scary one this game so far in terms of damage. And of course, Vayne scales in the late game whether you want her to or not.
Yeah, and because of Graves' ability to only slide ready once within a few second window, that Rumble's really good for locking down. And Engage going down from the Leona, locking down 3 of the blue team's members, so they're forced to run away. Katarina coming in with their ultimate, and the resets are coming down now. Orianna walks away, trying to get away on a bit of HP. Zac landing his last exposure. They're going to jump down onto the turret, and a 4-for-nothing trade there for the purple team. Zac also managing to get away after falling down with his passive right there.
Cell Division once again saving Zac's behind. That is such a strong passive, and that has helped Cardiff to close some of the
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Yeah, 400G right now, just going down from the Cardiff. 200G, sorry. Difference in Cardiff and Imperial's gold.
Yeah, and it should be noted that, I mean, while Cardiff is ahead on kills, Imperial still has a 400 gold lead. So, I mean, they're not behind, despite the fact that they may look it.
Yeah, and Graves actually, if you look at the money between them, it's about 1,500 gold ahead of the Vayne, which straight away is a BF sword. So quite a deficit between the bot lane. Orianna and Katarina are quite evenly matched in gold, but the different lies in that Rumble and the Aatrox, as you said. Graves getting engaged on there, but managing to escape on fairly little HP. Falling to Jarvan eventually as he's quite fed. Jarvan now trapped in a bit of a dodgy situation, but instead decides to re-engage onto Leona, knowing Sona's there to back him up. Katarina being forced to jump away, leaving the Leona in a bit of a dodgy situation, and the Jarvan just finishes off the Leona. Aatrox comes in, tries to pick up the Jarvan, however he falls to the mad amount of damage that Aatrox does.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fairly good engage. Once again, you're seeing a bit of the chasing that we saw in the last game as well, where sort of they do run after each other a good bit.
Yeah, definitely, and it, when that happens, while you know you may trade 3 for 1 in kills or whatever, the deficit is actually only a few hundred G really. And the real snowball factor from team fights and engages is when you're taking those objectives. So if you're spending the death timers or trying to pick up further kills, you're not actually snowballing half as far as you could be right there.
Indeed. I mean, champions respawn, towers don't. And while there aren't a lot of towers they could be taking at the moment, Dragon is up, and perhaps they could have just taken the Dragon instead there, instead of chasing.
Yeah, the Dragon's just popped right now. Zac's going to start it. So there is a ward in the back of this Dragon pit for the Blues, so they're going to see this. They're going to keep on going, sticking with the Dragon, now below half HP.
I'm
and
really
Jarvan
surprised Zac hasn't played that ward.
Yeah. I mean, Jarvan was very close to stealing that. Engage is going down. Sona getting on to this Leona, and she's going to fall to the Jarvan. Again, another kill goes down for the Jarvan. Jarvan, Demacia on top of Katarina there. She's just going to jump away for safety. Sorry, Cataclysm. I had a bit of a brain lapse right there.
Yeah, and that was a really strong engage from Imperial. They were able to catch out, I think it was Leona there, condemn her into the wall and just cut her off from the rest of the team completely, and Vayne just took her down, which is, I mean, that's putting a kill on actually that kill didn't go on Vayne, surprisingly.
Yeah, so engages come down from the Zac and the Aatrox, trying to get on top of this Rumble. Brilliant stone roll, locks up the Katarina. However, she's just being able to get her cooldowns off as the assist comes down to her, and they pick up 4 kills there. So the blue team are just getting a bit too cocky after picking up a kill from that dragon, and are actually
Indeed, and
going to lose a couple of turrets here.
Yeah, they just stuck around too long after the fight, and which is something we've seen them do. All 4 teams so far this evening have been making that mistake, where they don't keep an eye on their opponent's death time.
Blue team's turret has been
Get out while the
destroyed.
getting's good.
Exactly, and in terms of having that Aatrox and that Graves, if you're losing 4 kills and 4 members and not picking up any members on the enemy team yourself, you're going to lose a lot of turrets, like just then when we see them pick up 2 turrets in the mid lane. So right now we see Vayne has finished up Blade of the Ruin King and picked up a Zeal. Graves, on the other hand, has finished his Bloodthirster and his Phantom Dancer, and we're probably going to actually see him maybe even build just flat damage in terms of IE, as there's very little armor coming from the blue team right now.
Yeah, I do think the team fights are going to come down to Imperial's ability to shut down Graves, because that Graves is 4-1 and 6. And Vayne has closed the CS lead, but I mean, 4 kills and 6 assists is a lot of gold. I mean, he is sitting on 8,300 versus Vayne's 6,600, which is a big deficit on their 80 kills.
And with Graves, even if he's brought down, they need to make sure it's brought down before he can get his brilliant combo. That last 15 slingshot in and let's bounce all onto the whole of the enemy team right there. Sona manages to block a few in that ultimate, and a lot of damage coming down onto the purple team. Graves just kiting backwards onto the Jarvan. He's escaping on very little HP, but finally brought down by the Katarina. As this is going on, Aatrox is there, dealing lots of damage onto the Rumble, leaving the Sona and the Rumble on very little damage. Zac still is around with about half HP left, but it looks like the blue team's just going to disengage. Happy with the 2. Hang on, they lost 2 members. Sorry, 1 for 2 engaged.
Yeah, and these team fights are just they're a bit crazy, and that's sort of what we expected with a heavy wombo combo team comp on one side and an Aatrox and a Katarina and a Zac on the other side. So it's devolving almost into a running skirmish where there's just so much going on. Abilities going everywhere, and it is very difficult to focus when you've got a Zac running around, an Aatrox jumping around, a Katarina jumping around, a Leona jumping around. The Vayne tumbling and going invisible, Jarvan again jumping around.
And as well as that, you've got obviously the Zac and the Aatrox passive, both very similar in the fact that they can come back to life from death. But it means that you constantly have to switch the focus, and they're simply trying to get onto the Katarina and the Graves, but they're doing a brilliant job of just sticking at the back and not dying to the fed Jarvan on the blue side.
Indeed, and of Imperial's 8 kills, 5 have gone on to that Jarvan, which is, I mean, Jarvan's not a terrible place to put kills, but when it's at the expense of putting them on a Vayne, I'm not sure that's what you want to be happening.
Yeah, and even while sitting in the jungle, which you're constantly gonna have less farm and less gold than your team, he's actually the biggest gold earner on that purple team. Blue actually making a good effort to keep that ward control onto the Baron, even though Leona now into Oracle. The pink ward on Baron has just timed out for them, so I may have spoken too soon.
Well, they do seem to be definitely making more of an effort, or at least being more successful in the effort, of maintaining vision control this game. As we said last game, that was one of the key things, the key mistakes Imperial made in their loss to ABBA.
Yeah. And they've probably learned from that pretty well. Zach coming in with an engage and then let's bounce again. He manages to pick up the Dragon Solar Flare, only catching the corner of Oriana. A great command shockwave from the Oriana, catching about four of the Purple Team's members. And the Rumble's going to chase down this Zach. Leona's escaped back to her turret. However, they trade the Dragon for 3 kills right there. And that could mean that they actually get some good damage down onto these turrets in bot lane.
Yeah, I mean that was a very strong engage from Imperial. However, Cardiff seems to be doing a slightly better job controlling objectives, and as a result, I mean they have started pulling ahead. Imperial is doing the smart thing and taking a tower here. Aatrox is sort of standing back and watching it happen, knowing there's nothing he can do 1v5 to stop it. And he's just going to clear this minion wave and take the gold. We have pings coming down from Cardiff on the Baron. They do seem to be very objective focused here.
Yeah, and they know that Imperial's potentially stayed too long in order for them to rush the Baron. However, the Aatrox has gone over and farmed the wolves instead, so they're not going to have the damage to rush this down, and instead they're just going to have to take some ward control onto the Baron.
It looks like they're just going to try to control the area, potentially bait something in, but it looks like instead they're just going to group mid and pop down. Blue team massing towards Dragon. Looks like they're just hoping that they haven't started it yet.
I mean, with a Leona and a Graves, you should constantly be looking for catches, and they're playing quite scared right now. They haven't really got a good disengage, and I think they're a bit worried about Blue team potentially taking the lead here from a bad engage.
Indeed, Cardiff definitely. I mean, particularly with both of the Bloodwell and Cell Division passes on Aatrox and Zac respectively. They are not a heavy disengage comp. They want to go in and stay for the fight, which means they don't really want to get caught out of position.
And we saw the blue team actually get all grouping around that turret, but the Zac was off walking elsewhere and missed a chance to land a really good engage. Potentially the owner should be looking to throw out that ultimate if she can, in order to get an engage off if she spots it.
Indeed, a strong solar flare would combo really well into Zac and Aatrox jumping in, as well as the Graves ultimate. We have the elastic singlet coming down off of Zac, let's bounce, lots of damage coming down. Aatrox jumping in there as well, the Graves collateral damage coming down, slowing, lots of damage coming down. First death is onto Rumble, and Jarvan falls as well. Looks like the red team is going to try to clean this up nicely.
And that Zac passive again doing huge work. Yeah, soaks up a lot of the cooldowns. Graves managing to pick up to find another kill on top of the Persona. But the Zac doing a brilliant job catching lots and lots of people in that let's bounce, and then falling down, but was kept alive by his passive right there. So Purple team going to take that in the turret and probably the inhib. They're going to have to worry about the Baron as they're all low and going to be forced back.
Yeah, they are a bit too low to be thinking about Baron here. Leona could potentially tank it, and Graves does have that Bloodthirster for lifesteal, but I just do not think that they have the health to do it, and apparently they agree with me on that one and are backing.
Yeah, so a great engage from the Zac. They grew some balls right there, and they decided to just go for it. They were actually ahead, but they were constantly a bit wary of the engage, especially with the sonar. It's such a brilliant disengage tool. The Vayne trying to get onto this Katarina right now, but the Katarina just jumping away, and the Orianna blowing her ultimate there. So they could be in a really bad situation. Zac coming across the wall and blowing his Let's Bounce onto the Sona, but not actually catching anyone else. So both teams gonna fail to engage, and it's just gonna be a back and forth now of farming, I think, until they're ready to engage again.
Well, I mean, at this point, I think Cardiff is really going to be thinking about Baron and trying to control that. And it looks like they want the red buff here and maybe to push out bot a bit, which gives Imperial the choice of either trying to counter and just go take Baron or trying to defend.
And they're just actually managing to face tank this turret. But they've been caught out by that Sona ulti, brilliant Sona ulti. Katarina going too deep there and actually falling very early into the fight. Aatrox Bloodwells, but he doesn't have a lot of health coming out of it, leaving Graves to run away right now. Vayne chasing down Landon, really good shot there. Iona re-engaging, however, the Graves fall, so there's going to be no damage in order to bring down any of the carries, and the blue team secure an ace.
That was a really strong engage for Imperial there. They managed to shut down the push onto their tower and just countered it. And they seem to just be backing here. Vayne pushing out, trying to get some extra farm. Home guard boots on Rumble, trying to get him into the top lane. So it looks like their goal here is going to be to push out lanes. Vayne heading towards Dragon, maybe thinking about picking that up. She probably, yes, she is going on the Dragon. She definitely has time to do that with all of her attack speed and her passive. Or passive on her W.
Yes, definitely. Giving you that true damage and general huge damage that Vayne can do. She's just going to pick that up easily, even as Zac runs in and tries to pick it up himself. Baron's still up here, so I think blue team now possibly have the advantage. Again, Sona's hair going absolutely mental in my animation for some reason, but they're going to try and get the map control. Sona's picked up an Oracles now, so potentially purple team are now on the back foot after that engage, and hopefully, in order for Imperial to snowball this, they're gonna have to just keep ahead on those wards.
Well, it's definitely been a really good game so far. I mean, neither team has managed to hold on to a lead for long, and just when you think one team has the lead, the other one managed just to pull something out during a team fight.
Yeah, and there's been mistakes made by both teams. However, neither are giving up, and it's just a really interesting game so far. It could go either way. So Leona's just clearing out these wards. Rumble, or one of the blue team members, was forced to push out those bottom wave. However, they've had to come straight back, meaning that purple team has been able to take some water control. They're all just sitting in this bush. Zac slingshots over, catches the Sona again. Jarvan tries to get into the back line. Vayne still left alive. Leona engages, but is brought down by the mage. Jarvan lands a great ult. Katarina ulties, but doesn't pick up any resets, meaning that she falls down. Even Graves and Aatrox to run away. A great 3-for-1 pickup by the blue team, and we might see them push down mid and try and take it in here now.
I definitely think they should push and try and take something, although I would say they might want to be looking for Baron here. Aatrox is just back. Graves is up at basically full health here. He didn't take a lot of damage in the last engage, and he's just going to try to defend the
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
And I think they'd have really liked to get onto that Baron, but once your jungler's down, you're constantly scared of them just sneaking a steal, and it's a bit of a lottery without a smite. If you can't get your burst off properly as a team, then Aatrox could jump in over the wall and take it quite easily. So possibly a decent call, but it might have paid off a lot better if they'd have managed to pick up that Baron.
It definitely would have been a risk, but at some point they are going to have to take a risk and not play so safely. although that is paying off for them so far. I mean, if you look at the past couple of team fights, it's been Zach going in with what looks like a really brilliant elastic slingshot, only to have him get focused down, fall, and the team fight just sort of crumbles for Cardiff.
And these team fights has been separated by about a millimeter because the elastic slingshots have been on cue. However, they've only been hitting really one target at a time, and the let's bounce push people back. So the engage, the Sona disengages with the ulti, meaning that Purple team are forced to chase. However, the Katarina picking up a couple of resets. Rumble runs back to the back line in order to save some of his teammates who has dropped down low. Only Graves left up now for the purple team as he tries to kite backwards, but they're just going to be able to pick up that kill easily without losing anything. So a 5 for 1 pickup for the blue team. And they're just going to push down onto this inhib turret and inhib right now, I just said.
Indeed, and sort of the one thing I'm noticing in a lot of these team fights is that Cardiff's AD carry Graves is having a really hard time getting on his targets. Zach jumps in, Aatrox jumps in, Leona jumps in, Katarina jumps in, and they're sort of leaving him behind.
Yeah,
and he's just not able to be effective, despite the fact that, I mean, he is doing really well. It's just he's getting a bit left behind by his team.
And with this Zach engages. He's engaging with the elastic slingshot, which is fine. He's often trying to pick up a few members, and he's catching them in a really good situation. However, his let's bounce are actually pushing the enemy team backwards away from his team rather than towards them. If he manages to land that elastic slingshot a bit ahead and catch the back members of the team, when he lets bounce, when he activates the let's bounce, the Vayne is going to be pushed into that Graves, and it's going to mean that he can get on much easily if he wants to take her out.
Indeed, I mean, there's not much of a question that Graves has been stronger than Vayne for the majority of this game, although Vayne is really starting to catch back up. I mean, looking at her build, she's got her Bork, her Phantom Dancer, a Last Whisper, and a BF sword. And while Graves does seem to have a slightly stronger build, I mean, he's already started his last item in terms of what's probably going to be a Guardian Angel. I'm not sure that the way those team fights are going, a Guardian Angel is going to help him all that much, because he is living through these team fights for the most part. He's just not effectively dealing damage.
Yeah, and he's got that unfinished BF, so he could potentially develop it into build it into an IE. But I think he's gonna go for that Guardian Angel, which isn't what his team needs at all right now.
Well, I mean, if it allows him to rush forward a bit more and get into those fights a bit stronger, I mean, because Imperial, to their credit, I mean, they are doing what they need to do to keep him back. They do have sort of a wombo combo that is controlling Cardiff's back line and preventing them from really getting onto it.
Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, he can be a bit more aggressive with the Guardian's Angel. So, you know, we'll see how it goes for him in the next team fight. If he and which item he wants to complete right now. Maybe he's just built that bit of armor in hope that he can now 1v1 quite happily the Jarvan or the Rumble come in. Though armor's not going to do much to stop all right now.
And just glancing down at the builds, interestingly enough, Katarina has chosen not to pick up a death cap.
Yeah, and that's a lot of damage you're sacrificing. Instead, she's gone for a Deathfire Grasp, and maybe she's trying to assassinate that Vayne, but Vayne actually has a lot of survival versus Katarina, being able to condemn back and then Blade of the Rain King, and then burst on top of that. So blue team are looking to start the Baron, going to take this down very fast, and purple team are trying to desperately get over to potentially make steal, but the Baron's going to drop before they're anywhere close. Zach tries to come in with a last slingshot, going to cancel it instead, and the Rumble's going to try and land his ultimate to slow a few people down in order to get onto the purple team. Jarvan manages to land his Cataclysm, however Katarina just jumping away. So the blue team, they pick up the Baron, however they've used a few ultimates here, and they've got to be careful that purple team don't manage to get a decent engage onto them here.
Once again, it's going to be the issue of they need to not stay too long. I mean, the engage coming down, Katarina picking up some kills. Katarina picking up a double kill there, lots of damage coming down from the Aatrox, taking out the Jarvan, and it looks like indeed Imperial has stayed a bit too long. Sona's the last person running away. Cat's going to pick her up for the double kill and the ace.
So that was a huge mistake, and they just expended a few ultimates in order to try and get the quick engage. However, in doing so, they put themselves in a really vulnerable situation while trying to take that bot inhib. It meant that the purple team could land a really, really strong engage, meaning that they've got 5 members up to 20-second death timers on the blue team and could actually potentially finish the game.
It looks like they are definitely going to be trying to finish the game here. They're trying to manage the tower aggro. Looks like they are successfully going to take down the first turret. Death timer is coming out with an execute coming down on Graves. They're having some trouble managing the turret aggro. And it looks like their gambit has sort of paid off. And they've taken they haven't taken 2 towers, they only took 1.
And now we're going to see the rush straight back here. They're going to try and get onto Leona. Jarvan with Home Guards, lands Cataclysm, and she's just going to fall down for the counter ace there. And the real problem there was that Aatrox actually dropped his Guardian Angels to a turret, and as you said, the tower control manipulation was awful right there, quite awful.
Yeah, they were unable to manage the tower aggro there. Although, to be fair, having full aggro from 2 towers is a lot of damage coming down.
It is, but you're not actually forced to tank 2 towers properly right there on your own.
That was the mistake they made. They just dived into both turrets and didn't come at it from the side and take one of them.
So Imperial to take the first game here in the third place decider. Really interesting game, really exciting, going right down to the wire as they basically base race against the death timers there.
Indeed, that was 2 separate base races, one after the other.
And they didn't quite close out the game early enough there, Cardiff. They were forced at the end to try and make that base race because they let that Vayne get a lot of kills and get right into the game. The damage dealt actually shows that while Vayne didn't deal that much damage, Aatrox actually really struggled to get any damage off at all in the team fight, and the sustained damage from Orianna, Rumble, and Vayne meant that they were able to win these team fights.
Indeed. Just looking at the damage totals, you are right, and the Aatrox just was not able to output the damage, whereas on the other team, Orianna, Rumble, and Vayne all had a heck of a lot of damage coming out.
And even the Jarvan right there actually dealing a lot of damage, considering his build was tailored quite towards being a tank, only picking up that more of the Mare Mortis. I'm not sure how to pronounce that again. Someone give me English.
Maw of Malmortis.
Maw of Malmortis. I'll practice that tonight. Thank you. No invites yet. I think we're going to have a quick 5-10 minute break before this next game. So we'll see you in 10 minutes. Just before we go, I'm going to, if you want to find out more about the Newell, visit either our website, www.thenewell.com, or our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/thenewell. Thank you, and we'll see you in 10 minutes.